Hello and welcome to the EPROM 9. Some of you may remember this from the intro to the Husky FS3, where I went over it very briefly in a sort of rambly traditional fashion. So let's go over it in more detail. This is an absolutely excellent computer. Now, if I just dig something out from my drawer, there we go. So what is it? It is basically a ruggedized computer, which means it's built to military specifications. If you manage to break this accidentally, that is an impressive feat. Breaking this intentionally, you're going to have to be like trying to smash it with JCBs, explosives. You know, you're talking about basically more or less industrial type destruction. These things are just so well built. You know, you can whack it with a hammer and it'll be fine. You know, you can throw it out your window and it'll be fine. It is just built. So it's completely waterproof. I had great fun testing it when I first got it. There is no way in hell that water gets in. Seals are still good, even though it was made in 1998. And let's give an overview of the actual machine itself. So we have the keyboard. Sadly, it's in alphabetical order rather than being QWERTY, which is the standard I like because it's what I've been using, well, since keyboards existed, and they existed way before I was born. So QWERTY it is. Much prefer over alphabet layouts. It's got two parts to it. It's got a top part, bottom part. Pretty similar on other ruggedized handhelds. More will be coming on this and a load of other stuff I got given recently, as well as tribute to the person. But they're not the only competitors, although Husky have since been brought out by Electronics, who are apparently still around, making ruggedized handhelds. On the top we have two of the I/Os. Now the FS2s have less in I/O. You've got a DB25, either going to be parallel or serial port. I'm not 100% sure exactly what standard it is, whether it is LPT or serial. You've got your standard DB9 serial. Sides there's diddly square. Bottom you've got an IR communications port. Very popular in the 90s. I had a few IR devices and I never had any use for the IR bit. Bit of a useless standard if you ask me, but I'm sure someone put it to good use. A very obscure connection, which I believe it's called a LEMO connector, because that's what it's called on this unit. It has a similar sort of connector on it. Where the batteries go, now it does have its own custom rechargeable, which I do still have because it hasn't leaked to hell. But I usually just run this on either 3 standard AAs or rechargeables. They're slightly too small, but they're long enough. The carry strap is long since worn out and I can wear it as a dog collar. And on the back we have some information. You got your standard FCC operation rules, which if you ask me, half the time don't make bloody sense. This device may not cause harmful interference. Fair enough, you don't want it emitting EMI or interfere with other equipment, especially more critical equipment such as medical pacemakers, you know, the generic stuff that people don't want being pissed around with. But the two never make sense. This device must accept any interference received. Why? Surely you want it not only to block all interference from being transmitted, but also it from receiving interference. Why would you want it to take interference, including any interference that causes undesirable operation? How does that make any bloody sense? That's what you don't want. The FCC rules. they make about as much sense as the creationist argument. And the creationists are very well known for doing the absolute worst arguments in history. We have the Husky FS3 telling you the model, probably a serial number, part number, and then of course 2 megabytes of RAM, 10 megabytes, so potentially 10 meg of actual internal storage. No PC, don't know what that means. This is like sort of X, none. This is all your various ports. You've got IRDA, DOS 6.22, yep, because it runs on DOS 6.2. It's actually a 386EX CPU, which I still don't quite understand what the EX bit is about. If I do some research, I'll find out. These are 2 charging ports, which are they magnetic? Nope. So they'll just be standard charging ports. And just like in the Husky what was it? It was the Geiger counter. I'm not planning to dismantle this because it's an absolute bastard to get back together. However, just like the Geiger counter one, that might not actually be stuck to. And so, shall we get to actually operating it after this known fact? The people who owned it before, if the lights will focus properly, are the Environment Agency, a UK system that are dedicated to monitoring things like flooding and stuff. And there is the software for monitoring things like water levels and logging that sort of information. Makes sense to use a computer like this, because if you drop it in the drink, it doesn't matter. Unless the drink is really deep, then recovering it's going to be a bit of a pain. Right, I'm going to be trying to operate this, but this is what it does when it switches on. And we come to this lovely menu. And on it we've got a ton of funky software, such as Gauger. So if I can reach the 1 without disturbing my setup, hit enter, we have Gauger, meter gauging, recording and computation systems. Pretty standard. Hydrologic. Yeah, you're seeing how this is working now. Husky FS3, because this is actually from 1998. So fair enough. And we have new gaugings, view gaugings, delete stored data. There isn't actually much data in here, unfortunately. But if we go on to new gauging, we have site. We have management, Brampton gauge. Oh wait, these are all the sites that were looked at. So we have, these are all the safe sites. Bleach Green where? Watson, or whatever that is. UK has some weird names. You got Bullgill, Burnbanks. I don't know what the hell these places are. Clark Station. Clark Station appears in quite a few of the few logs which are on here. Cliff Bridge, Colburn. Notice these seem to be referring to places with water. That's where it comes out. Greenhome, Harry Green, Hayman Bridge, Jeffing Knots. If you know what knots are. I've currently had a brain fart on it. New water. You get the idea of what this is. Now, if I remember, escape will get us out and we can exit back to DOS. And if we do a dir, delete that, hang on, it's a bit difficult to operate such a machine like this. Space /P, enter. Oh dear, what did I type wrong? dir, I didn't do the space. I don't know why. Right. /P. There we go, and we can scroll up and we got all kinds of fun things. The config, ed. Some of these are just like utilities, like the H cards and that, because I think this has got compact flash in it or something. That kind of stuff, utilities, there's a few things like that. There's not a huge other amount of thing, but one dir that's actually good is cd space. Yeah, typing on an alphabet keyboard is not fun. CHYDR AS2 DIR. Then there's what is it, EXE? ORP1. OP1. You get the idea. But that's the Husky FS3.